Whatever. Just make sure you're speaking close to the mic. Christian John,
hey.
What's up, buddy? How's it going? Coming in from Long Island. Guys, I hope you like this new angle. We're getting a little bit more space. I feel like, when people are in the studio, sometimes we get a little bit jammed up by the table right here. Christian, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. So you're coming in from Long Island.
Yeah.
The last time I saw you was at the stand. Well, I saw you at the stand, and then I saw you at Revision. So how you been, man?
Good, man.
What's been going on?
Nothing. Working. I have a day job. I'm not a full-time comic yet. But, doing my thing, day job by day, and then grinding comedy at night.
Nice. So what are you doing during the day?
I'm a physician.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you went to medical school for 4 years, did the residency, did everything?
Yeah, I graduated med school exactly 10 years ago this month.
Nice.
And then I finished residency 5 years ago.
What kind of doctor are you?
I'm what's called a physiatrist. So,
what's that?
The field is called physical medicine and rehabilitation. So basically what we do is we oversee physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists. And we do a lot of pain management. So I give a lot of injections in joints and muscles and stuff. And I manage a lot of narcotic medication.
Oh, really? Okay, so I had, this is about 2 months ago, I started to have like a flare up in my foot. And in the past, I've taken Enbrel. I'm not sure if you've heard of Enbrel. Mm-hmm. It's basically for I forget what it's called. It's psoriatic arthritis, something like that. So if I've had pains like all over my body at like random periods of time. Like I got a torn hamstring, torn labrum, like torn groin muscle, just like all over the place in terms of like not really even knowing what it was caused from.
Oh, wow.
So
were you given that diagnosis?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what like I saw so many doctors over a period of like 2 years. This was probably like 3.5 years ago before I started getting really serious into comedy. I just had a number of pains that the doctors really cannot just figure out like at all. And I was taking prednisone a lot.
Yeah.
So I got chunky. But finally, thanks God, I'm all good. I'm healthy now. And I don't want to say like the main part of it was, but like this is when I kind of started experiencing or kind of started to experiment with like veganism and stuff. And I think that helped for the most part, just in terms of like health and feeling better.
When did you start that?
When I started like going vegan?
Yeah.
Now about like 2.5 years ago, when I turned like fully vegan, I stopped eating fish about 1.5 years ago. But I think just once I started like taking out meat, because I had jaw surgery initially, so I couldn't really chew meat. And I just kind of switched to like the oatmeal, fruits, softer foods, and it made me feel better. And then on top of that, just getting more active and stuff like that. But do you see mostly like older patients?
Yeah, I work in nursing homes exclusively.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does your day-to-day kind of look like? Not comedy-wise, just in the beginning of the day. Feel free to sip on some of that water, man.
You're the best.
That's all you.
Yeah, so I'm in the nursing home every day. And then you just have a lineup of nursing homes are weird because they're called skilled nursing facilities. So skilled meaning they have skilled therapy services, PT, OT, speech, that sort of a thing. Because nursing homes, they're divided into the long-term care unit where the old ladies live, There's not many old guys because ladies naturally just live longer than dudes.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's some patients that are gentlemen, like older gentlemen.
Yeah, but like how much older would you say that a woman?
Mainly it's women.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Females outlive.
Sure. Well, my grandpa passed away about right before the pandemic, so 2.5 years ago, and my grandma's still around. But yeah, I noticed that people do have like more so grandmas than grandpas.
Yeah. And then the other part of it, though, is just the physical therapy. Like if you need inpatient therapy, like let's say there's a young person who had an accident, like an orthopedic accident, and they just need to be getting aggressive therapy, inpatient therapy, then they're going to do a little short stint in the nursing home.
What's like an inpatient? What do you mean? If somebody gets in a car accident?
Therapy like... So there's different like levels of how aggressive physical therapy is going to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if your injury is not the worst, you can go home and take care of yourself and then just go to like an outpatient office and get some therapy like twice a week sort of a thing. But other people who've had such a bad accident, they can't take care of themselves. They're not necessarily going to be there forever, but they just need 24-hour nursing care. So they're going to be in the nursing home for, let's say, a month or 2 months or 3 months. They're not an old lady and a senior citizen who's going to live there forever. They're just there to get their therapy, their rehab, and then they're going to go.
Who puts them there, though?
So that's kind of part of my job, or people with my job. That's not really what I do, but people with my specialty can do that, where let's say somebody goes to the hospital. Let's say they get like COVID, for example. COVID was a big one. where it can knock somebody out. They had like really severe COVID or anything. Let's say they had a stroke or they had a bike accident or a traumatic brain injury, something like that. Then after they're medically optimized, right, where their lives were saved or whatever, and they're in the hospital, a physiatrist, which is what I am, could go there and be like, okay, this guy's a good candidate for aggressive therapy. It'll help his functioning get back to baseline, but he's going to need a little bit more than like twice a week. He needs aggressive therapy. So I recommend him to be put into a 24-hour rehab program for like maybe, let's say, like a month. And then he can go home when he's deemed safe to go home.
Do you do exercises with these patients?
Yeah, that's physical therapy is a lot of that.
So do you have
occupational therapy.
Right, do you have just like baseline exercises that you'd use for maybe like an older woman or an older gentleman?
Yeah, you see a lot of like the same things, balance issues, disuse atrophy with muscular, with your muscles and stuff. So it's hard to, your proximal muscles, meaning like your muscles closer to your trunk, they get weak. So those are like your leg muscles. We rely on these muscles to stand up. So they have trouble standing, that sort of a thing.
So would you suggest to like the younger crowd, I mean, people who are like 30 years old and under, to consistently exercise?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm 37, so I'm already starting to feel it. Like even in my shoulders, if I'm lifting up my arms for like a long time trying to put on deodorant, I'm already tired.
Well, how do you feel about driving? Because like I rarely drive. I sometimes go out to Long Island, but that happens maybe once every 3 months, something like that. I'll notice that if I no joke drive for longer than an hour and my arms are like this, I'll start to feel in my shoulder like a cramp and my neck cramp. Even sometimes in my foot. Just from like pedal down, pedal
knees.
up. So I mean, I imagine that has to be some of it. Like
of course, that's why I'm out of a car now. I'm in a SUV with a higher ceiling. Just like better ergonomics sort of a thing, because I was in a Honda Civic for like 9 years.
And you felt like you were like kind of crunching over.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine that driving just for the everyday person, everybody drives, dude. Like the only people that don't drive are like people who are in the city, like kind of us throughout the week. But
you nailed it. Like once you're 30 and up, you start to really feel like all the
I'm trying to work out almost every day, man.
How old are you?
I'm 30 actually.
Oh, okay, nice.
So I'm in the gym at least 5 days a week.
That's great.
And then I've been trying to do more legs. So now, like you're talking about, now you always kind of see like the older generation. I mean, the toughest things that they have a hard time with is standing up. Like walking. Walking. I mean, is like second to that. But I mean, you always kind of have to help your grandma and grandpa up out of the seat.
Yeah.
Help them into the car. Stuff like that.
Exactly.
So you'd suggest that people kind of just focus on walking and doing leg workouts. What's the preventative
lots of
state?
That. Exactly. That's exactly what you do. It's a very simple, like straightforward thing. It's a practice makes perfect sort of a thing. So you want to do like lots of exercises for the joints, for the muscles, for the heart and for the lungs, for conditioning purposes, energy. And then the other part to it is you want to eliminate hazards and optimize like different compensatory things. So grab bars in the shower so that they don't slip. A tub transfer bench sort of a thing. A commode. Do you know what a commode is?
No.
A commode is like a portable toilet sort of a thing. We have this thing where our blood pressure is fine everywhere we go, or every position we're in when we go from like laying to stand to sitting to standing. But when we get older, when we go from a laying to a sitting position, our blood pressure goes down and then we could start to get loopy. This happens to old people all the time. And then they faint and then they fall. So imagine that happening. And then when you have a fall as an older person, this is a really depressing podcast.
No, dude, I love it. We're learning.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know anything about
it's just
this.
like these are common things that happen.
Continue.
So like, old people, their blood pressure goes down very fast because of positional changes. And then that leads to falls. And then commonly that could either lead to a head injury or a hip fracture.
How do you feel about the older generation driving and like how often they should be getting their license checked out?
I mean, that's a good question. In terms of like policy, I'm not great with like legal stuff, but that's a really difficult thing. I mean, it's not just driving, just even living alone. There are plenty of patients that we have that they're completely independent. They're living alone. They might have like one child in another state.
Checks in here and there. Maybe.
And they're like 80 years old or 85 years old and they've been taking care of themselves. And then we see them and they've got like full on dementia. It's like, how have they been going this long? And they're probably dry. You know what I mean? and they get found by their neighbor or whatever else. And
Have you seen older people that have just been in really great shape, and then they'll kind of tell you what they've done their entire life, or do you kind of see patients,
that a lot.
or do you kind of see patients that are not in good health?
Well, you see a lot of people. I tend to see people who are not in good health because that's just the nature of why I'm seeing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do see people who are in great shape. And it's exactly what you said when you're like, they'll tell you what they do. Yeah, they'll always be like, I was an athlete my whole life. So if you put in the time now, like you're saying you're at the gym 5 days a week, that's going to pay you off. That's going to pay dividends later when you're like really investing in yourself that way.
Yeah, it's just funny because like you never really think about it. I mean, when you're from the ages of like 25 to even now 30, you know, there's so many days where I'm like, I just don't want to go to the gym, and I'm like, all right, I should. And no matter what, I always feel better after the gym.
Yeah, diet is huge. You're already conscious of that. Exercise for the internal organs, the heart and the lungs, liver, kidneys is huge, and then your musculoskeletal system.
You see a lot of smokers still smoking cigarettes, people.
I mean, not really. A lot of these old ladies didn't have a huge history of smoking. Some alcohol. You see some people who had a history of alcohol.
And most of that is affecting the liver with the alcohol, and then your lungs, breathing, and cigarettes.
Right.
Interesting. So like, what is the kind of the median age of the people you see in those older homes? Is
65
there an age?
and older.
Okay.
Yeah. Medicare age.
And everything is paid for by the health insurance company, or is it the private?
Primarily, place? There are some people who are private pay, but most of my patients are Medicare or managed Medicare, sort of a thing.
All right, man. All right, well, let's talk about comedy now that we've gone through the day job.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Though you're taking care of older people, and it's a blessing.
The other day, I was in the nursing home, and they have like a day room where all the residents.
Did you do 10 minutes in the day?
No, but there was a person. There was a person there, like an old guy, just doing the recreation, whatever.
Strumming the guitar.
Like strumming his guitar, and I'm like, as a doctor, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's nice for the residents. But yeah, as a comic, I was like, who produces this show? Like,
I wonder if I could do like,
exactly.
I love that, man. I'm sure you meet so many funny characters there. Like, I don't know what it is about older people, but sometimes they'll just say outrageous things that make the younger people laugh when they're not even trying to be funny. Do you get any material from them?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Does anyone know you're a comedian there? It's kind of just like
more and more people are finding out. I try not to leak that.
That was like we had Jared Schwartz. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He came on the podcast and he was talking about how he's a paraprofessional,
right?
And how he tries to not let anyone who he works with know that he's a paraprofessional, just because he's dealing with kids throughout the day. So any material that he would get, I guess he would just do it at a show outside of that.
Yeah, a lot of people. I've had my coworkers actually come.
Oh yeah,
to some of my shows at the comic strip before. Yeah, I didn't do great that show.
They're like, you should stick to his day job. No, but I've seen you at the comic strip. Where are you at a lot in New York City?
I'm all over. I mean, like a lot of the indie shows, obviously, and then I do a lot of Governors in Long Island.
Yeah, I've seen that. So what's it called? They have a couple, right?
They have 3 rooms there. I think they used to be. The history of those clubs, I'm not too familiar.
Or something.
Yeah, McGuire's is in Suffolk County, which is pretty deep. That's in Bohemia, the town of Bohemia. And that used to be an independent club. I think the owner bought all of them and kind of put it all under the Governor's umbrellas. But Governor's used to be its own club, and the same with what's called the Brokerage, which is in Bohemia. And then you have Governor's proper, I guess you could call it, I don't know, in Levittown. So those are the 3 clubs there, which is great. I'm at the comic strip a few times a year. I like yours, which is, thank you again.
Yeah, of course.
That was so much fun.
So Christian and I first met at the Ted Jones Comedy Show. When was it? Like two and a half months ago.
Like
this guy,
yeah.
Christian, reached out to me on DM and he got a spot. Okay, guys?
That's right.
That's what some of you got to do. Not all of you, but that's what some of you got to do. Reach out and you'll get a freaking spot. So when did you start doing comedy, man?
I started.
When did you get really involved in it?
I started 2014. My first gig ever was at a church. December 2013 for a Christmas show. I had never done a mic or anything like that. Somebody was like, you want to do some comedy for the thing? I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. So I wrote some jokes and it went well actually. And then I started doing open mics during residency. I was a first year resident.
How did you fit that in, dude?
I don't know.
My friend went to residency at Stony Brook.
Oh,
That's
really?
Very funny. Yeah, now he's in Chicago. What's post residency called?
Fellowship. You could do that. I didn't do a fellowship. I was like, I'm going to start.
Oh, then
practicing.
maybe he's not. Maybe he's practicing. I feel bad. My bad, Squigs. I forget
He
which
could
one
be
you
doing
are. But I know
fellowship,
he was at Stony Brook in Jefferson.
Yeah, Port Jefferson.
Yes, Port Jeff.
Yeah, cool. That's where at St. Charles.
don't know.
Maybe.
I know poor Jeff. I know every time I looked at his location, he was like right next to the 7-Eleven or whatever was right there.
That's where I started doing. So that was 2014. I was doing open mics.
Poor Jeff.
Out there a lot, and then I would also drive, but it was a long drive.
Yeah, that's exit 67 on the LIE.
It was like far out somewhere like that, something like that. And then I would drive out to Queens, and I would do the Creek and the Cave mics. And
in Long Island City.
In Long Island City,
right outside
in QED.
Nice. In Astoria.
In Astoria. I would bomb at Creek in the Cave and then go to QED to feel better about myself.
So I believe I'm going to the one-man show Anthony DeVito has. I'm not sure if you've heard of this or heard of Anthony DeVito. He was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. The show is called My Dad Is Not Anthony DeVito. So I'm going tonight, QED. I've never been.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. So you traveled into New York City for open mics though, starting when? Like when did you?
That was 2014.
2014, and that's a big trip for you though.
It was. Now I finished residency. I finished residency 2017. So I was doing comedy 14, 15, part of 16, and then took summer 16 and 17 off to study for my boards. And then I finished residency, and then I moved up to White Plains. And then I started comedy again out there. I was doing mics out there at a place called Lucy's Lounge. I don't know if you're familiar with any of that. And then I came back here, and I started again in Long Island, and then the city, pandemic and all that stuff. So I was doing
what did the pandemic kind of look like for you? The mindset shift at all?
The pandemic for me, so I was trying to do mics in Long Island. There used to be like a zillion open mics on Long Island, and then there was one at a place called One-Eyed Jack's, and it was packed out.
And how many nights a week did they do?
This was every night. So that was good, but it wasn't much. So then all these outdoor bus stop shows started in Manhattan. And there was one at Joey Bat's Cafe. There was one at another place called Pinky's Space. And I got one night a week. Mine was right after Jared Schwartz's show, actually, on Tuesdays. So I was doing that. And that was kind of fun, I guess you could say, kind of miserable. But it was what it was. Like that was the pandemic. It was like there were rats crawling around in and out of the garbage cans, and we were trying to tell jokes to people who didn't give a fuck. But it was what it was. You know, the nice thing about it was you saw everybody kind of like concentrated in one place. I feel like the closest thing to that now is seeing everybody in the cafeteria at the stand. The cafeteria, the dining hall. You know? That's what it feels like, a cafeteria.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, like everybody's there. It really is a great hang.
Yeah.
So in terms of like getting into comedy during the pandemic and balancing your day job, I mean, did you have a lot of extra precautions when being around older people? I mean, I imagine you did, but like what did your day
but I get
like?
tested. Like I still get tested, actually. Even though I'm vaxxed, I still have to get tested
How often?
For nursing homes every week.
So is there like a specific day that you go in and they swab you?
Yeah, usually Mondays.
What's the deal? Why are there still so many booths on the street testing people for COVID, and why are they all free?
I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about. I have no idea.
You just get tested and
I
it's
just
like
get
whatever.
Tested. It's negative.
Do they do your nose or do they do your mouth?
No, they do my nose. Yeah, I actually swab myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So you swab in, and you're at the nursing home like 5 days a week?
4 days a week. Yeah, but it's a lot of. Like I'm at the nursing home semi-briefly compared to the work that I do outside the nursing home, which is annoying because you have to write in your charts. You have to write a chart for every. So imagine you and I are doing this whole podcast, and now I'm going to go home and write an entire report on everything that we said, the entire back and forth, plus the physical exam.
Well, you do it during while you're doing it, right?
Sometimes, but sometimes if you have a lot of people to see that day, it could like back things up. So you have to just kind of do it all. You
guys are doing the Lord's work. It seems like a lot less people are going to law school, medical school these days just because it's so freaking difficult. And I mean, there are a ton of great doctors and a ton of great lawyers. Do you think they're all centered around metro areas? I mean, is that where the best pay is for doctors and lawyers?
No, it's not. Rural areas are.
Really?
Yeah. I could be making probably double or triple if I left New York.
Why is that?
Because they just don't have, it's a scarcity. They don't have practitioners out there.
Because people want to be in the metro areas.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's saturated out here, just like comedy, I guess, sort of a thing. But so they're always trying to incentivize you. We'll pay your loans. We'll part of your loans. We'll give you, traveling expense money, this, that, all that. So, but I don't want to leave because of comedy. Plus my wife's family's here.
What did the loans kind of look like for you outside of school? Like how, if you don't mind talking about it.
I don't care. I owe $600,000. Yeah, I know.
For 4 years of school and 5 years of residency, or you get paid?
Residency, you get paid. It's not great money.
So, but you do get 4 years of college and then 4 years of medical school.
Yeah, that's right. Plus, because the interest is like 7 or 8%, something like that.
So when Joe Biden is talking about,
I rounded up. I owe like 560 something.
when Joe Biden is talking about removing these loans, what does that look like? Are you in?
It's not looking like anything. I don't. It hasn't happened yet. There's been a lot of talk about it.
But would all of your your college loans would be removed, not your medical school?
No, it should be everything. I mean, there's different like loan forgiveness programs, and right now, so I'm self-employed, right? So I work for nursing homes, but I don't really work for nursing homes. I work in nursing homes. So it's a free service for the nursing home, but in basically the contract is, it's not really a contract, but the agreement is I'll see your patients. There's no service to the facility, but you give me access to these patients, right? And I get to just charge their insurances directly instead of going through a thing. I'm self-employed. I'm not signing a contract or a W-2 or anything like that. Like a hospital, for example, they'll generate off of a physician like $500,000 a year and pay them $150 with some benefits. When you're self-employed, you just get money from the insurance company directly. So it's better to do that. And you pay for your own health insurance and all that stuff. So that's nice. But because I'm self-employed, I'm not working for a not-for-profit sort of a thing. So that when your loan's getting forgiven looks differently if you're self-employed versus if you're working for a hospital, which is a not-for-profit. If you're working for a nonprofit or not-for-profit for 10 years, you get your loans forgiven tax-free. What I'm in right now in this income-based repayment, they say like, okay, let's say you're paying your loans off for 25 years. You can pay 10% of whatever your income is each year, which is a low amount. That way you can live off of the money you're making. You just give us a little minimum each year for 25 years. And after 25 years, we'll forgive your loan. But what we're going to do is you have to pay taxes on the amount that was forgiven. So each year with that 8% interest, it's like growing out of control. And
does it keep? It goes up to 8%, and then it keeps going up higher percentage-wise.
So by the end, let's say they forgive. Right now, it's like $560,000. If it grows to like $1 million or $2 million at the end of 25 years, then they cancel, or they say they forgive that much. Now I got to pay taxes on that. So that brings me
like half of that,
right back to where we started. You know.
So what does your bank account kind of look like per month? Like, do you have to pay off a portion each month?
I pay 10%.
It comes out of your paycheck or whatever.
No, it doesn't come out. I just have to pay it.
Okay.
But it's not like a direct deposit sort of a thing.
How do you know how much to charge if you're doing if you're self-employed? You said you're charging the patient.
There's a fee schedule that Medicare allows for each type of visit that you have. So if it's the first visit, you got to do a lot more work getting to know the patient. It's called like an initial consultation. There's a set price for that. And then for a follow-up, you kind of know them a little bit more. So you're kind of just following up on whatever the issue was from before. If you do a little bit like more work for that versus like it was kind of a brief visit, prices are adjusted accordingly.
What about like a phone call?
Yeah, it could be like less. I don't do that, but it could be like, yeah, you could charge for that.
If I called
And by the way, Medicare pays shit. Like it's like private pay. There are doctors who don't accept insurance. They're private pay.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, like I know a psychiatrist who charges $500 per half hour.
Does she like cure depression?
Yeah, I bet.
with those rates?
Yeah, she is ayahuasca.
Have you have you thought about potentially starting a private practice, opening your own nursing home? Is that something that you can think about?
No, I'm not. I can't say that joke out loud. But I was going to add a joke that I can't say. But no, I mean, listen, it's kind of like a day job for me. It's like not an identity. It pays the bills right now, but like, if I was to go that route and all that, like, I don't know. If I was to be an entrepreneur, it wouldn't be in medicine.
Okay.
Like you said, I think I caught you say once you were a project manager for a building. Is that
Property
right?
manager.
Property manager.
Yeah. So I worked at my dad's company for 6.5 years, dude.
That's sick.
And I basically, like you said, it was paying the bills. But like after 6.5 years, I mean, after like 5 years, I kind of realized, all right, I want to do entertainment, whatever it was with the improv, podcast, vlog, comedy shows, entertainment full time.
Right.
So the pandemic was approaching and I was like, all right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Then the pandemic hit and I felt like I needed to help my dad out. So I stayed at his company another year and then I started doing all like comedy shows, the podcast and the vlog. But
you probably have a wealth of knowledge on how to run a business, run a building.
So much. But the thing is, like, nothing was really going to change for me until like one day when I would potentially maybe like take over the company. So I was like in the company for 6.5 years and then year 15 I would take over the company. I just didn't want to wait. I didn't like doing it. But yeah, I learned so much just from being thrown into the fire, as you will, just because like I graduated from college, didn't have a job, and it was kind of given to me, and I appreciate it so much. But like, I also learned just so much and learned so much about people and things that I would never know to this day.
Right. So that's, I mean, if I was to do like entrepreneurship, it wouldn't be in nursing homes, but my wife and I talk about like potentially buying property, like investment properties.
Yeah, that's
that sort
great.
of a thing, and trying to
Great
like,
idea.
Yeah.
What does your trajectory look like for the next, let's say, 3 years, 2 to 3 years?
I don't know. I have no idea. Right now, I'm just like, I'm newly married. So
yes, Mazel Tov. I met your
Thank
wife.
you.
Great woman, of course. What was her
Thank
name?
you.
If you want to say her name,
Yeah, no,
Irene.
sure, Irene.
What's up?
She's great. She's awesome. She works as a physical therapist. She's super supportive. She's sweet. I'm very blessed to have her.
Did you guys meet at the same place?
We met
A
at
nursing
church,
home?
actually.
Oh, nice. Tell
Yeah.
me you did a fire 10-minute set, and she caught you.
It wasn't
after the
that
show.
night, actually, but yeah,
Oh,
no, we
bummer.
met. I have done comedy for that church, but it wasn't that night. But no, yeah, we met at church. She's great. She's awesome. She's got a very funny sense of humor, so I'm blessed with that.
Nice.
And but she's very business minded. She loves entrepreneurship, so she's always pushing us to like invest and kind of looking out for the future. Where my mind is always on comedy, sort of a thing. So yeah, and that's it. I'm just in the comedy grind like everybody else. It's fucking rat race, right?
Yeah, man.
That's what it is.
It's great. It's
Yeah.
freaking great. Do you rent or you own right now?
I rent right now.
Okay, smart. Don't buy a house, man. In my opinion.
Yeah,
I just
really?
think, just from seeing so many people do that, especially nowadays with interest rates going up and mortgages being refinanced. If you buy a place, you got to do work to it. You got to fix the kitchen, add value. You got to
Yeah.
fix the bathroom, add value. You need to be in a place that's paying you, So you got to be buying a duplex or buying a triplex.
Right,
so
right,
you
right,
live in
right.
one and then the other
Yes.
two pay you.
Yeah.
So you have income producing.
Right.
Like while value in real estate
So
in
like
New
a
York
single
has gone
family
up
house
like
you're saying
that.
don't.
No.
Yeah,
Just because
that,
if
right.
it has one door, you should rent it. If it has multiple doors, you should buy
How
it.
do you feel about like a mother-daughter type of home?
You mean like where like
It's like a two-family, but it's legally a one-family, I think, sort of thing. But you could still rent.
I think if you're getting income, then
it's okay.
Then it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. But besides that, if you keep paying, like you move into a place, okay, look, it looks great. Oh, now all of a sudden, shit, the roof is freaking leaking.
Yeah.
And if I rent the place, the landlord will fix it. If I own the place, I got to fix it. Now I got taxes. Now I got mortgage payment.
Right.
Oh shit, the refrigerator doesn't work. I thought the guy who I bought it from said it was a brand new refrigerator. Shit, there's $800. Oh no, the plumbing is messed up. We didn't even know about the plumbing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a $2,000 job. So there's so many unexpected costs that come with owning a home.
Yeah.
And especially if like you own the home for such a significant period of time, there's so much that you put into it. And yeah, maybe the price of the home has gone up 25% over 10 years. You just don't think about all the hidden costs that go from all the money that you've put into it over time.
What would you say if, aside from real estate, is another great way of investing for?
I think, right now it's tough to say. I wouldn't give anyone financial advice in this market right now.
Right.
But I've always been an Apple guy. I've always been an Amazon guy, just like the big companies. I mean, when it was, what was it, FANG, when it was Netflix, Facebook, Apple. But I mean, I've been a huge advocate of crypto.
You like? I was going to ask
well
you like crypto?
now, yeah.
Yeah.
I got into Bitcoin when it was at like 8,000. I got into Ethereum when it was at like 800. So I'm still doing okay.
I like watching, Karen Margolis.
Yeah.
I like watching her videos. She has like some.
Yeah, she does like crypto stuff, right?
Yeah.
She was on one of our shows. Yeah, so I think like, I mean, this is a good time to get into crypto. I wouldn't say like bet the boat on it, bet the house on it, but like, it's just like with inflation going through the roof, and it's at like 8% over the past year and a half
it's
or something like that. Like, it just seems like you're either going to keep your money under your mattress or you got to put it in somewhat of a risky stock.
Yeah.
And keeping it under your mattress with inflation like this, it doesn't seem like the move. So right now, I wouldn't give anyone any financial advice, but I have in the past and told people to invest in Bitcoin, invest in crypto, and kind of spread out a little bit. Because if Bitcoin does go to the moon or Ethereum does go to the moon, you don't want to be left out.
Right.
That's just something that
You have any feelings about Tesla?
I think Tesla's great. I don't have any Tesla. I know my mom bought Tesla at like, I forget what it's at right now, but she's made like 8 times her money. I know other people have made 8 times their money. I think Elon Musk is the freaking GOAT.
Yeah.
I think he's the man.
Yeah.
And I think you also kind of got to invest behind people.
Yeah,
too.
right,
I kind of like that. You see a guy like Elon, you're like, oh yeah, his company is maybe like floating a little bit right now, but I don't know. I
That
like
tweet
him.
he put out was kind of scary the other day.
Which one?
About him like disappearing under weird circumstances. He's like, if I suddenly disappear, it's been nice knowing you. I think it was like
He said that?
Yeah, it was like a tweet like a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
I think,
well,
like
that
3
would
weeks ago,
be
something like
that would be yeah. I would not want him to disappear, man.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
So who are some of the comics that you look up to that kind of made you, I don't want to say make the full transition, but I guess got you interested enough to start pursuing it very seriously?
So Louis C.K., I guess, but
he was at the stand the other night.
Oh, really?
I saw him.
It definitely evolved though. Like as I started doing comedy, so I liked Louis before I was doing comedy, but as I started doing comedy, I became more of like a short joke guy,
like zingers,
like a Dave Attell or a Rodney Dangerfield. I really love Rodney Dangerfield. I love everything about. I love that time of life. I love the decor of the club.
Did you ever go to his club on 61st Street before it closed?
Yeah. People like shit on it because it was like depressing, like 1970s looking paneling. It was like falling apart.
I never have actually been inside, but I've only heard not so great.
But I liked it. It was like these little like red lamps, and they had like chocolate cake, and it was like an old timey fucking.
Cake. Oh yeah, love it.
You know, club. I like that sort of a thing. You know. Clubs are very different now.
Well, but I saw you were in a suit. Where were you at the Friars Club?
Yeah, that's like another.
That's like a couple months ago.
It's like a modern day.
You look classy. I've actually been to the Friars Club before with my grandparents. Like probably 10 years ago, I went there once, and I was wearing like exactly what you were wearing, a suit. Or something
that's what it's like. It's like Dangerfields. That's what it feels like.
Okay, it's
like a time capsule.
So Louis C.K. before you started comedy, and that you just started going to more shows and see more comics, or what kind of change there?
Well, you start to like try to write jokes, I guess, and then you figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So I'm not much of a storyteller. Like I don't do act outs, even though I think they're awesome. I just don't really feel like I have the ability to act or to do all of that. I'm more like a punchline guy. So if my joke like rises or falls by the audience just getting the punchline. If they get it, they get it. They don't, they don't. But like, so I'm more of like an Attell, where the way I'm not like anything near Attell, but the way Attell always says he's a club comic, he's not a theater act. And I feel like it's very different. He's right. Like, there's a big difference.
How do you perceive that?
Like short jokes, small, tight audience, low ceiling, that sort of a thing. I think even Mark Normand has talked about how like cellar comics, they're very like every 2 seconds there's a punchline. They're very tight, that sort of a thing. But a theater act, I mean, there's short jokes, there's voices, there's act outs. They're all over the stage. They're sweating. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
They're really going in. You really are getting a whole production, like a Broadway play all in one person. I'm not that. I'm just like very just punchy, you know? So, but yeah, I like Louis. I love Louis. I love Bill Burr. But I'm not anywhere near that sort of a style in terms of like so you kind of write and you find out who you are and what you're comfortable doing.
Do you love New York City?
Because of comedy, I do.
Why not otherwise?
You
think it's like too stressful?
No, it's not. Well, driving is a little stressful.
Yeah, like you were been saying before, you got here finding parking.
It's not. The parking situation's annoying. You can't park before 7 p.m. anywhere. And then the bicycles, because like if you're in the right lane anywhere else outside of Manhattan, you can just make a right.
Right on red. Yeah,
but it's not even the right on right. You can just make a right. Period. If you're in the right lane. But if you're in the right lane in Manhattan, you got to make sure there's a bike. You're not gonna like nail a bike to the right of you,
flying past you.
So yeah, that's kind of. I never want to hit a person. That's the thing.
So you're living in White Plains now? No,
I moved back to Long Island. I live in Oceanside.
Oceanside.
Close to Long Beach. So I'm like South Shore by the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, nice, man.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what do you think the plan is going forward? I know I asked you like 2 or 3 years, but in terms of like comedy, are you just looking to get more spots?
Comedy is crazy because now we have to do all these things. Like you have to have a big social media presence and all this clout and all this shit. My goals are every person I talk to, they want the same thing. They want like the Netflix special and all that. I kind of don't want any of that. I kind of wish I was a stand-up comic back in the day where you
Dangerfield days.
Yeah. Like where nobody really knows you, but you could just walk into a club and tell your jokes and go home sort of a thing. I don't know if it was really that easy, but that's how it looked, you know? I wouldn't mind having the same 1 hour for my whole life, you know, having my day job as a physician and then going at night and just telling, I just want to be a local club comic.
Do you feel like you have an hour now?
That's it. No, not yet.
How much time do you think you have? Somebody who's like, all right, go up
that
there.
I'm proud of?
Yeah.
I have probably like 40 minutes of jokes.
Nice.
But I'm proud of like 20 minutes.
That's great.
Yeah.
The 40 minutes you can go up there and maybe do a little crowd work.
Yeah, with crowd work, yeah, I could do exactly. And I have other jokes, but they don't always hit. Like that's the thing about comedy. It's like bittersweet. It's like not bittersweet, but it's fun and also annoying at the same time that jokes don't all hit at like the same percentages. Some jokes hit like 80%.
Yeah, it's like just audience also.
Exactly. And other jokes, like some jokes that you do on Long Island that'll get an applause break, you're going to get fucking booed or whatever. Not booed, but like dirty looks here in Manhattan sort of a thing. So you got to try to find enough jokes that make people there happy for 40 minutes or half an hour, and people here happy for half an hour if you're planning to do both scenes, sort of a thing. So I'm still kind of between that.
Do you ever do spots out in Long Island and then come into the city? Is there time for that? I was talking to these guys here who are watching and listening about how, like, in LA, you really have to plan everything out. It's not like, oh, I can do this one spot here and then maybe I'll go try and run and do another spot.
It's tough. Not really, no, because not really, no. No, unless if it's a bar show, that's different. But Governors, I try to just stay to be respectful.
How many people or how many seats do they have at that club, Governors?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure. It's a pretty nice room, though. It's a very.
I've seen like a ton of people from New York City do it before.
Yeah, I think it's like a headliner club sort of thing. They have I just do guest spots there, but it is like if you're a headliner, then you can just go there and have a night or a weekend sort of a thing. It's nice. It's pretty good. But I like New York City because of the showcase thing. I like having the option to do like 10-minute, 15-minute spots everywhere you go. Versus like other states, you're just emceeing, featuring, or headlining, and that's it.
What's your favorite club in the city?
I don't have one. I
Nice.
think every club has its own flavor, sort of a thing. I like hanging out at New York Comedy Club, especially the East 4th location, because the bar is like, it's bigger, but it's like dim lighting, it's intimate. They're very welcoming there. The stand is cool because you see everybody, but it kind of feels like a high school like a cafeteria. So that's that. But they're nice there too. The staff is very welcoming and it's like aesthetically gorgeous. The cellar is great because it's the cellar. And what else is there? What am I missing? Gotham. Gotham is like really, have you been to Gotham?
Yeah, of course.
It's very elegant. Gotham for me, Gotham is like a very elegant experience. I like being there. So I'm looking forward to doing the Arab Festival again this year.
When is that?
That's in November.
Okay, nice, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Christian, this has been a great time. You want to let them know about anything else that you're planning on doing in the next upcoming months? Doctor-wise or comedy-wise, anything, your life-wise.
Doctor-wise, don't look me up. You're probably, unless you want to send your grandmother one of my nursing homes.
MD,
That's
well, that's actually good. That's a
I'm
good
actually
plug.
a DO. I'm not an MD. I'm actually a DO.
Okay. What does that stand for?
Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine.
What does that mean?
It's just like we took one extra class in med school that MDs didn't take about like manipulative medicine. Manipulative meaning like your hands, not manipulative like
Mind-wise.
Yeah.
That's like more psychiatrist
That's
stuff
right,
that we were
yeah.
talking about.
So we're kind of like chiropractors and physicians in one. Even though other DOs, if they heard me say that, they would not like that. But that's the truth, dude. It is what it is. But yeah, no, just Instagram, really, I guess.
Shout it out,
Christian John Comedy at Instagram, on Instagram.
And when's your next spot that we can see you at? This is coming out like a week from today.
Sure. Let's see.
So figure your early June spots.
Early June spots.
Yeah, early June spots.
I'm actually going to be at June 1st, Williamsburg, a place called Easy Lover, June 2nd.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Stand Up New York, June 11th. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Christian,
Yo, you're
thank
the
you
man.
so much, man.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
having
you
me. I
for coming
appreciate it.
over.
Yeah, this was
Guys,
great.
follow Christian. He's the freaking man. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Peace.